Good morning, everybody. Is this working? Yeah. You guys can hear me? Woo, that's great. So my name is Fiona, and I'm a junior at the Calhoun School, and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit today about my story and what I've learned. So 5 years ago, I stood at the door of someone that I greatly admired. This person was famous. This person didn't know who I was. And this person probably didn't even have time in her average day to say hello to me. So I was pretty nervous. I felt very vulnerable. I took a deep breath, and I pushed open the door. "Hi," I said. "I'd like to speak with Senator Hillary Clinton." When I was in 6th grade, I was given the opportunity to write a research paper with the topic, Taking a Stand, People, Events, or Ideas. And I decided to look into the world of women in politics. So first I thought I would go to the library, read some books, check out some newspaper articles, but then I realized that the women who I was writing about were still alive. They existed in my world, and I could ask them about their experiences. I decided to write letters to all the women in the Senate and a majority of the women in Congress. So I was sort of freaked out about doing this because here I was, I'm 12 years old, these women are really busy, they don't know who I am, they're pretty scary, they wear, power suits and big shoulder pads, and I didn't think they'd write me back. But I realized that the worst that might happen was they'd say no, or they wouldn't respond, and probably life would go on. So I wrote these letters, and I actually heard back from a lot of them. I got the chance to go to D.C., and I spoke with Senator Lisa Murkowski, who's been in the news a lot lately, a Republican senator from Alaska. I talked to Congresswoman Barbara Lee. I spoke to members of Nancy Pelosi's staff, and I spoke with the legislative director for Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, who's a congresswoman on the Upper East Side right here in New York City. I never heard back from Hillary Clinton, but while I was in D.C., I was walking through the halls of the Senate building, and I saw these offices with seals on the doors, and I saw her office. And I realized that technically I really could just walk in and ask to meet her, but this is a pretty scary idea. So I stood out there for, a few minutes. Some people walked by. They looked at me a little funny because here was this, little kid standing out there, not sure if I should knock on the door. I went in, and I did not end up meeting Hillary Clinton that day. It was disappointing, but as you can see, life went on. I'm still here today. I'm not too emotionally damaged. But I did learn a really important lesson. I learned to ask for something, and I learned what it feels like to hear no. After I asked for that, I was like, well, that was pretty difficult. I guess I can go on. So once I started asking, I really couldn't stop. So I became pretty fearless. When I was meeting with Carolyn Maloney's legislative director, I decided to ask her for an internship. She was sort of taken aback, but she said, yeah, sure, definitely. As soon as you're old enough to travel down to D.C. by yourself, you should come and intern for us. Well, when I got home, I looked up Carolyn Maloney's office, and I saw that she had an office in Manhattan. So I called up the legislative director, and I said, well, I'm old enough to take the crosstown bus to your office in Manhattan by myself, so how about I intern there? And thinking back on it, I am incredibly surprised, but she said yes. So I ended up interning for Carolyn Maloney, who's an amazing congresswoman, for 3 years. I had a lot of great opportunities. I got to talk to constituents, answer letters, pick up phones. The people on the other end definitely didn't know they were talking to a 12-year-old. But yeah, it was a great experience. And I learned, none of this would have happened if I hadn't asked for it. So from there, I went on to ask for more things. I recently got to intern with a group called Vital Voices. I met the woman. She came to a program that I was doing over the summer, and she spoke to us. And right afterwards, I was so moved by her speech, I just went up. I asked for an internship. She said, to be honest with you, probably not because you're in high school. But I kept asking. I sent her emails. I updated her on my life. And I ended up interning with them last summer, and it was a great experience. In 2008, I went to the Democratic Convention in Denver. I got a ticket to Denver. I flew out there, and I literally stood in front of the Pepsi Center, and I asked, over the course of 3 days, probably 500 different people if I could borrow their pass to go inside the Pepsi Center. Just complete strangers. I told them my story. A few of them were really freaked out by me. It was a little embarrassing, but by the time you get to, the 450th person, you're not embarrassed at all. And 499 people said no. But one person said yes. So I ended up on the floor of the Pepsi Center on the night when actually Hillary Clinton was speaking. So there I was watching my hero speak with all these people around me. I was all by myself. My parents weren't there, and I was just cheering, woo, Hillary, completely by myself. But it was so much fun, and it was incredibly exhilarating. So I really learned after that experience. I mean, I heard no 499 times. I'm not afraid to hear that again. So obviously, not everyone wants to meet Hillary Clinton. Some people might want to meet Venus Williams. Some people might want to meet Lady Gaga. Everyone has their person who they find inspiring. But I've really learned, and this is something that I want to share, I think girls often feel a little bit embarrassed or vulnerable asking for things. And we're afraid of the word no. But really, it's not that bad. Like, I've heard it so many times, it's not that bad. So what I want to share today is to ask. Ask for something. Whatever it is, just ask. You never know what could happen. And so while asking for something is incredibly important, it's also really important to do something. So in my life, there was something that I wanted to change. I saw that girls my age didn't really seem that interested in politics. They didn't really seem that interested in leadership, and hardly any of them identified as feminists. And so I went around and I talked to my friends and I asked them why. And they said, well, we don't really see any stories that we find interesting. And I said, okay, well, what about the fact that girls in Afghanistan don't get to go to school? And they were like, what? Girls in Afghanistan don't get to go to school? I didn't know that. So I decided to create a website called barbarasangels.com that is supposed to sort of get girls my age interested in politics. I want to create a network, sort of like what we're doing today, right? We had G-POW up here, and our last speaker talking about osteoporosis. And so all these girls are affecting change, and I want to connect us. So what my website does, I post blog entries about things that I find that I want to change. I have interviews with women who I think will be inspiring. I review books that girls might be interested in. So in this way, I'm trying to affect my small change. But what I've really learned, once again, is ask for something, but also do something. It can be really small. In your life, it could be that you want to change, maybe the dog pound down the street is the issue that you want to affect. Maybe it's as large as world hunger. But start a club, start a blog, start, a Facebook page. I know that you all are on Facebook constantly, so there's really no excuse. It could be anything. So, maybe it's a band, maybe it's a sport team. So go out there and ask for what you want, ask for something, and do something. So I'm turning 17 on December 9th, and as of now, I have met Hillary Clinton 3 times, because after that first day, I was disappointed, but I didn't give up. And I found her so inspiring that I continued to contact her. I continued to reach out to her. And I've been lucky enough to sort of weasel my way into several events that she's been at, talk my way into, I went to a breakfast. She was there. She was giving a speech, and I just walked right up to her. And I'm pretty sure the 3rd time I shook her hand, she actually recognized me. So it was a very fulfilling moment. But that's what I want to leave you with today. Ask for something, do something, because that's a real way to be something. We're teenagers, and I think we often don't see the world as affecting us, but this world is going to be ours very, very soon, so why not get a head start? Thanks.